Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Tuesday, September 30th. I'm your host, Tom Moore. The Minnesota game in 4 days, the game against Michigan in 60 days. If you're planning your next event, make it unforgettable with Grateful Griddle, Columbus's favorite food truck, serving up smash burgers, gourmet sandwiches, and good vibes. Book your catering today at gratefulgriddleoh.com. One piece of news before we get into the meat of today's show, and that is that next weekend's game against Illinois, currently 11 days away, that game is going to kick off at noon Eastern on Fox. Ohio State fans, never big fans of the noon kickoffs at home. On the road, not nearly as big of an issue, I'm guessing. So there you go. Noon kickoff next weekend against the Illinois Fighting Illini in Champaign. This weekend, it's a home game. It is going to be a 7:30 p.m. Eastern kick on NBC. Buckeyes and the Minnesota Golden Gophers for homecoming weekend at Ohio State. A lot to look forward to there. One of the things to look forward to is we get a chance to do a show where you get to hear from PJ Fleck, one of the Big Ten's most characters, biggest characters, whatever you want to call him. He's definitely one of them. We're going to have another one of them next week with Brett Bielema. But this week, it is PJ Fleck and the Minnesota Golden Gophers coming to Columbus. So you're going to get to hear a little bit from Fleck at his press conference on Monday. In case you were busy watching Ohio State's game against Washington or some of the other big games of the week, you may have missed this. Minnesota had their biggest home comeback win in 30 years. On Saturday, they came back from a 14-0 second quarter deficit to beat the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. So, all right, PJ Fleck, what are your thoughts on the biggest home comeback win for the Gophers in 3 decades?
Well, I think that, when we talk about this courage piece, we'll get to that and the details after that, but the courage pieces and thoughts and ideas and actions without knowing the outcome, right? And you're down 14-0. I thought our coaches did a really good job of shifting, and not just shifting completely and throwing out your old game plan, but you game plan, 60, 70 hours a week to come up with what you think is going to be the right formula to go win a football game. And then you're kind of looking at it and you're like, all right, this might have turned into something a little bit different. When I talk about being a balanced offense, balance isn't 50-50 run pass. You've heard me say that constantly. I don't believe in that. I believe in, can you do what it takes to win that football game, whether through the air or on the ground, special teams? Are you balanced enough to get the job done, even if what you do going into that game doesn't necessarily work as well? Can you shift? I thought our coaches did a tremendous job of that. I thought our players did a tremendous job of that. Down 14-0, and we're in the minus 18, 19 yard line. I mean, those guys could have folded their tents and went home. I mean, that's tough being down at home like that. And I thought the explosive play got us going. Sitting in quarters and putting a lot of people down in that box. And I thought Jalen had a heck of a route. I think it was a tremendous throw and a great play call. It's aggressive because you go 3 and out there and you punt, right? Now it could be 21-0, and that's a different story. With the largest, home comeback in 30 years, I mean, I'm only responsible for 8.5 of them. So that's all I kind of worry about. I don't worry about the rest of it, but I think it does show how hard it is in modern college football to come back from deficits. That's why when we're down 14, I'm sure if you look at when we've been here, we're not probably very good at coming back. But this shows the courage of this football team, the fight of the football team, all the reasons I told you back in, January and then April and May and June and July of how much I love this football team. I told you, I don't know what the record will be, but I do love coaching them because they're resilient, they respond, and those are the whole 3 things. We had to have incredible how. Our effort had to be relentless, and it was. They had to respond to everything. There's going to be some ebbs and flows of that game that were within our control and without our control, and you have to respond to it, and they did. And then we had to take care of the ball, and we did. And then we had to get the ball taken away, and we did. So when you look at that kind of as a triangle, they did all 3 things, and they had the courage to believe in it and go execute it. I mean, I said this in the post-game press conference. If 30 more minutes of that football game, it continues to go back and forth. So we found a way to make one more play than they did. And I know they got a field goal blocked and missed a field goal. We missed a field goal. There's a lot of things that both teams look at the end and say, hey, listen, we could have played better. There were some things that we did that were sloppy. We got to iron out a lot of our details and fundamentals and have a heck of an opponent coming up this week.
Mentioned that it is a primetime kickoff in Ohio Stadium this weekend, something Ohio State fans have been clamoring for a while, and you'll hear PJ Fleck reference that in just a second. But how are the Gophers preparing for the noise that they're going to face at Ohio Stadium this weekend?
Yeah, well, I know that the fans have been asking for a night game for 3 years, right? And they got it, and it's against the Gophers. So we're going to do everything we can to simulate it. I don't think you can ever do that exactly because, I mean, that place is 107,000 fans, and it's deafening. And that's for a noon kickoff or an 11 a.m. kickoff, let alone all of them doing what they do, tailgating all day and being ready for the night game that the fans have asked for. And so we know we're walking into a really hostile environment. We're going to do everything we can to recreate it and preparing it. But our players are just going to have incredible poise and execute in the small details and find a way just to continue to get better and go execute the game plan that's in front of us. But we know what kind of environment we're walking into and what type of team we're going to play. I mean, it's defending national champions, and you listen to Ryan's press conference, and I have a ton of respect for Coach Day. I mean, a ton. He's an incredible man, first of all, and then just a fabulous coach. But I know he has a lot of confidence in this football team that he's coaching, and I think statistically, when you look at them under Ryan Day, I mean, this statistically in the first 4 games could be his best team he's ever coached. And so this is a really good football team. So we're going to have to play our best football game of the year. We know that. But that's what's so fun about it and what a great opportunity it is for us and a great challenge at the same time for our football team.
Ohio State just had to do the silent count thing on the road at Washington last week due to all the crowd noise. How often when you go on the road as Minnesota, do you have to do that, and how does that maybe impact things?
Well, that's going to be the challenge, right? I mean, we do a lot of things in our offense with double, triple call, a lot of different things, right? And so we're going to have to work really hard in how we're going to get that all communicated. We have a plan for it. We just have to execute it. The moment can't be bigger than the fundamentals and details of your execution. And so this is the pressure of the situation, and we're going to Ohio Stadium, which I have a ton of respect for what environment they create. Again, when you work there, you appreciate it even more. And they're very passionate about their football, and it's going to be a great challenge for us. But again, to our players, a great opportunity, and we'll be excited for it, and we'll be ready for it. And, we're going to give everything we got, that's for sure.
The Ohio State defense has been one of the biggest stories in college football this year as Matt Patricia has taken over from Jim Knowles and picked up right where Knowles left off, if not even gotten a little better. They held Washington to just 6 points on Saturday. What makes that Ohio State defense so good?
Well, they're holding opponents to 5 points. So Washington did a good job scoring 1 more point than what they're averaging. So that's above average performance. They're really, really good at understanding how it all works. You can see how the front 7 understand how the back end works. The back end understands how the front 7 works. They work cohesively together. They're relentless. I mean, those 4 guys up front, I mean, they get into some double eagle packages, and they are straight up the field. I mean, Coach Johnson coaching that D-line, I mean, they're coming after the quarterback. And if the run happens to get in the way, they'll tackle the run. But they're coming after him. And they're relentless in their pursuit. They're really good tacklers. They're smart. Coach Patricia does a really good job of always keeping you guessing something different almost every single play. And it has that little bit of that. It has a lot of that NFL feel to it. Every time you're at the line of scrimmage, it's a different front. It's a different coverage. It's very challenging. They don't allow you to ever get into a rhythm because you're getting something different constantly. And they're really good at it. A lot of people are afraid to do that because that's hard to be good at a lot of different things. But they have such good players, really good coaches that they can do that. And they're very good at it. So that was a 1-possession game going into the fourth quarter. And then, Ohio State makes some plays. But we have to be us. We have to build the game plan according to who we are and put ourselves in a position to execute at a very, very high level. And if we don't do that, it's going to be a long day. So we have to do what we do, and we've got to have a great week of practice. We have to have incredible attention to detail and find a way to be able to play one of our best games we've played this year. That's for sure.
One of Minnesota's best players, running back Darius Taylor, he missed the Rutgers game with a hamstring injury. They were also down early, as I mentioned, down 14-0 in the second quarter. So that could impact this stat a little bit, but still. Minnesota threw 41 passes on Saturday, ran the ball just 18 times. You can go back through a whole bunch of Minnesota coaches, and that is not how they have ever really done business up in the Twin Cities. So after so many years of being run first, is this now maybe more of a pass-first offense?
I think it goes back to your philosophical beliefs as a coach, 1, and then 2, how do you adapt to the personnel that you have with your scheme? I love to run the football. If we're going to run the ball, I want to run the ball. I still think we're a running the ball team. I also think we're a pass the ball team. I also think we're a run to pass team. You got to be able to pass to run. I mean, you have to be able to do those things. And I think that's where the balance comes in. So we've also played 2 games without our best players, some of our best players. And I think that's challenging when you don't have the depth of there's not 5 Darius Taylors on your team. And I think that, there's one Darius Taylor. Darius Taylor goes down. I think that does impact your offense. I'm really proud of our guys that have stepped in and given us everything they have and getting better every single week. I'm really proud of them for that. Believe in those guys. But when you look at it, there's a reason that Darius Taylor is Darius Taylor. There's a reason Max Brosmer is Max Brosmer. There's a reason why Rashad Bateman is Rashad Bateman. They're very talented. And when they're not on the field, I think that does change your mindset of how you have to go win a football game. But that doesn't mean we don't believe in everybody else. We do. We just have to get to it maybe a little bit differently. We wanted to run the ball a little bit more in the first half against Rutgers, but we didn't. We didn't get enough first downs to get into that rhythm. And that was the game plan, was to come out and throw the football and get it into the run game, but then really run the ball a lot. And that changed pretty quickly. So I still believe we have core beliefs that you have to do all 4 of those things, as I mentioned, really, really well. But I'm always a firm believer that the run sets up the pass. I've always believed that as an offensive coach. And I think here at Minnesota, you got to be good at it.
Here's a question that just about every opposing beat will ask their head coach at the weekly press conference before the Ohio State game. Hey, PJ Fleck, what kind of a challenge does Jeremiah Smith present?
I don't know if that's the question. He challenged. I think it's what doesn't he? Because he's fabulous. He's a phenomenal football player. He can stretch the field vertically. He can work in the screen game. He can work underneath. He's got incredible control of his body in the air, on the ground. He's lightning quick, ultra fast, plays big. 50-50 balls are really not 50-50 balls. They're like 90-10 balls. You could tell that, everybody believes in him, and they've got a lot of him around their football team. And it's a tremendous supporting cast that allow him to be the best player he can be. But he does it all. He's got great center of gravity, good contact balance when he does have the ball in his hand. He's got great vision. He's as good as advertised, that's for sure.
And finally, this weekend's game going to be a matchup of 2 quarterbacks from the 2024 recruiting class, a pair of redshirt freshmen. I'm sure you're aware of Julian Sayin at Ohio State. He was the number 1 quarterback in the class of 2024 in the 247 composite. So that's one side of the battle. The other one, redshirt freshman quarterback Drake Lindsey from Minnesota. He's out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. Called him away from the home of the Hogs up into the land of lakes. He was not the first-ranked quarterback in the class. He was the 56th ranked quarterback in the 247 composite in the 2024 class. So what did he do last weekend against Rutgers? Oh, not much. Just 31 for 41, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. Not bad for a redshirt freshman. So what to PJ Fleck has been the most important aspect or most impressive aspect of Drake Lindsey's play so far this year? And you're going to hear him mention Coy. That is Coy Parrish, who is one of their star safeties on the team.
I think just the consistency of him every week growing and getting better. I think that there's, we talk about this word courage, and I said this earlier on one of my interviews. I said that it takes a lot of courage for coaches to play freshmen, but it takes a lot of courage from the player as a freshman to play at a high level. It takes a lot. And there's a relationship on both ends that you have to be able to trust somebody to do that, especially 8.5 years in your career, at one place. So, but I feel like, we have so much confidence in what he does. I mean, you saw what the confidence we had. And the conversation on the headset was, we're going to put this thing in Five's hands. I mean, that's the best shot we have to win this football game. And I thought he came through. But he's used to that. I keep saying the greatest high school game I ever watched was Coy's and his. And you go back and he put the team on his shoulders in the state championship game that I was at. He's used to that. He likes that. It doesn't mean every time he's going to win it and every time it's going to be a win or a success and he's not going to fail and grow and he can learn. But he learns through the failing. He learns through the success. He's so fun to coach. He's so coachable. He's a really humble young man. He's got a great family. There's so many positive things to say about him that's why I told you I love coaching this team, and it starts with the quarterback. We know he's only going to continue to get better, but that doesn't mean he's always going to continue to have 100% success. But we know that, and that's the journey we've decided to go through with him. So we've got a lot of years, got a lot of time, but the time is now. And that's what I love about him. He doesn't feel like, oh, I've got all this time. Nope. Every day is like the Super Bowl to him. That's the way he practices. That's the way he watches film. That's the way he leads his football team. And I think the team really, really believes in him. And we have a lot of young players with that type of feel. I mean, you're starting to see what Jalen Smith, when I told you about Jalen Smith, I said how much we believe in him. You're starting to see that come out. There's just a lot of young players. And with young players come development. But this is a developmental program.
There you go. And another interesting press conference. Some fun stuff there from PJ Fleck. He was asked about the status of Darius Taylor for this weekend's game, and he said, well, we'll all find out together 2 hours before the game when the availability report comes out. So that will be 5:30 on Saturday night. Buckeyes and Gophers kicking off at 7:30 on Saturday night. Game kicking off on NBC. Should be a lovely evening in the Horseshoe. Everyone's been looking forward to a night game. You get another night game, 2 in a row now. This is a Big Ten night game, so it should be even more fun. This is also the only home game between the Ohio game, which was September 13th, and the Penn State game, which is November 1st. So the only home game in the span of almost a month and a half. Crazy how the schedule worked out this season, but there you go. Should be a fun night in the Horseshoe. We will be there for that, and we'll be there all week long giving you a preview of the Buckeyes and the Gophers. I'll have Ross Fulton on to talk a little bit about the Washington game and what we learned from that game, and we'll have much more coverage all week long, starting with Ryan Day's press conference on Tuesday. All the stuff you come to know and expect from us at BuckeyeHuddle.com and YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.